And we are recording. It's starting.
Yay!
Yay! I'm so excited to meet you, Pat. This is what I remember. You entered my life through LinkedIn. You just wrote and said like, "Hey, I like what you're doing." And I looked at your background and I thought, he seems like he's doing really good stuff too. So can you tell me a little bit about how you ended up here in the Bay Area and just how you got to beautiful Voyager?
Yeah, sure. So I got in the Bay Area about a year ago. We moved from Boston. So funny enough, you'll have a hard time because I have a French Canadian accent. Now it's mixed with Bostonian, if I can say that, and California now. So please bear with me. I'm trying to pronounce well and kind of skip the Bostonian, but no, we make fun about it. But yeah, so about a year ago, we moved to California for my wife's work. We had an opportunity to move, so super excited. It's a dream coming true. We do a lot of outdoor sports, like mountain bike, skateboard. I do now surfing, so it's the weather and the people. We always love the West Coast, so even being from Canada, we consider Western Canada to move at one point, but you know, life timing was never good. Jobs weren't there. So anyways, long story short, so about a year ago, we landed here in the Bay Area, first in Mountain View, and then we moved to Redwood City. So right now I'm sitting, we rent a house here. It's been a year here and since December in Redwood City, and we just love it because it's central and yeah, we can go everywhere. So
you are not that far from me. I would take a highway that's right outside my window in Bernal Heights, about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes.
Okay, so where is that?
Bernal Heights is, you probably see it when you drive in. There's a big hill, that's Bernal Hill, that's right next to 101.
Okay, how close on that side? Yeah,
on that side of 101.
Okay. Yeah, we stick on the 280 side, so
that's the other.
Is there a rivalry between the 101 and the 280?
There's no rivalry. Both are friends, although 280 is a little prettier.
But yeah, it's closer to the mountain, so that's why we want to be close, to have easy access. But I mean, the nice thing about the Bay Area, I find it's simple because it's kind of a rectangle. So just getting around compared to, let's say, Boston or even Montreal is not so bad, but Boston, definitely, it took a while for us and for me to get around. But here it's, I find it super easy. So,
it's so strange that you arrived and then everything locked down. What a strange experience.
Yeah, and honestly, that's it's just been awesome and I would say fairly quick because especially because I'm reinventing myself, and that's what I like to do. I don't feel I want to be labeled or be boxed in, and we'll go through some of the stuff, my recovery and everything, self-discovery, really being my true self and doing what I really want, and of course having the support to do it, which is important. But yeah, so I know I try to not making confusing for people because I'm really focusing, and I've been focusing for the past year on mental health. And that's why I found you and Beautiful Voyager. To come back to your question, when I arrived in California, the first thing I did was I need to find my peers. So I call them my peers. So people with mental health challenges and people making impact and being change agents, and that's what I consider myself too. So I want to hook up with those people doing great things. So that's why I found you through having a contact with.
Sorry, hold on, Alice. I'm recording a podcast. Can you take June back upstairs, please? Thank you, my sweet girl.
Hi.
Just came back with her. This is Alice. Can you take her upstairs, honey? I was the one with the interruption.
It's
fine. Thank you. And can you close the door, Alice? Thank you. Classic.
Yeah, really
that's okay. Now, luckily, my husband edits the podcast. Now, I put the YouTube up unedited because I'm like, this is the reality. But the podcast itself goes out edited. So, okay.
That's perfect. So through connections. So somebody talked to me about Margot Joffre. She's at Verizon, and then got linked with Kelly at Mindshare Partners, and then I think she commented on something you wrote and said, wow, who's this person, what she does? And then I saw your book and said, wow, I love this. And so I just hooked up with you, got your book, read it, and commented to you, and you reply back. I was like, wow, that's nice. It was meant to be, I guess. And it's starting from
Definitely.
now. And you just you just offered to partner, which is awesome. So we'll talk a little bit about that. So that's where I landed and started. And also when I arrived here, the first thing I did, and it was funny because it was really the first week I arrived, CAMPRO, which is the association with I'm working with right now. So it's the California Association for Peer-Run Organization.
Mm.
So we support, train, and advocate with the government, but support peer-run organizations, so non-clinical places where they help people with mental health challenges. It can be just places to hang out, to respite, to different kind of setups. So we do, that's what we do. But they had a workshop and a presentation in San Mateo in my county. So the same week, so I told my wife, I said, I have to go. So I said, okay, let's go. So I just went and not thinking about it. Like, anyway, I guess that's my approach. I just jump and then look what happens. So, and then I ended up doing a part of the workshop with the executive director and one of the director of training, doing brainstorm on different things. And somebody said, well, they're looking for somebody to help them out with support, coordination. And it ended up, I was facilitating groups online, work groups, and helping with the advocacy with Newsom, Governor Newsom here. So
Wow.
yeah, so it was good.
Wait,
So
okay,
yeah.
Weiß, this is all amazing. What I
Sorry, you
need,
have
I
to
know
stop
I
me
need
because
to orient
I'm
myself a
so
little bit. What I
passionate.
want to know is like what happened before. So how did
Yeah,
you're from Montreal originally. What happened?
yeah.
When did you start even thinking about mental health? Like what came before that? What was your other life?
Sure. Thanks for that as well. I saw another of your podcasts, and I don't remember the lady's name. She said, oh, thank you for bringing me back, because I guess she's like me, and I get so passionate and talking about, thanks for that. Yeah. So, so coming back, my short bio. So I was born and raised in Quebec City in Canada. So French Canadian. So so I grew up there. I went to business school in Montreal. So my background is business administration, marketing. And when I got out of school, I did some sales job, but I got into the medical field right away because I always felt I wanted to make a difference and help people. So and there's no wrong things with selling other stuff, mugs or anything else, but to me, I wanted to be closer to the medical field for my own interest. And so so I started to work for medical device companies over there in marketing. So I did pretty much my career through different marketing jobs and like high responsibility and with the stress coming with it. And I'll make the link with mental health in just a second. So that's what I wanted. So it was fine. I made my progression, but I found I had a hard time dealing with the stress, questioning, is that the right field for me? I know I was stretching a lot of things like mentally and, but still I was having success. So then in 2004, I think in my mid 20s, I would say, so I'll reveal my age a little bit, but and maybe in my mid 20s, I first burnout at work, and just many people experience it. For me, it was like the wires really touch in my brain. I couldn't go on anymore. I'm a perfectionist. I'm a people pleaser, overthinker. So I think I fit right in. Beautiful Voyager.
You are such a beautiful Voyager. It's
Oh,
so
thank you.
clear.
Thank you. So plus I know we all carry baggage and stuff, but mainly it was just not able to manage and just really needed a break. But I took that break and I went back to work. So yeah, to make it shorter, so I kept going, and then that was in Montreal. So I kept working in Montreal, and then my wife and I, we always wanted to go work somewhere else. So we travel a lot. We love to travel for leisure. We both travel for work. So we said we'd like to work in the US, in Europe, Australia, anywhere, just like experiences. So my wife often has opportunity with her work. She's in the pharma. She works in oncology. So then Boston came up, which is not too far from Montreal. We could drive there. So we just said, yes, let's jump on it and let's go. So, and I was super excited to do it. So as well. So we arrived there. I was super pumped. I was looking for work still in my field in marketing, because that's my experience. But at that point, I guess I was coming close to my 40s. Not I guess, I was coming close. I kind of put the not midlife, but the 40 crisis in there. I throw like bad management, blocking emotions all my life. Like, life's too short to be sad. It was my motto, my phrase, always saying that, which was, I thought it was great, but it kind of piled up a bunch of things. Anyways, people ask me often why, and it's like the series A Million Little Things. I don't know if you follow that, probably. I love this title because it's so true. So there's not just one answer, but yeah. So then I was alone at home, winter and stuff kick in. I was questioning what I want to do, and then it's just spiraled down so quickly. Even my wife and I didn't understand what was going on. So that's where I really experienced like my worst mental health challenges at that point. So it was very, very hard. So I would say the first year in Boston was tough. And I don't know how much in details, and I know I'll write about it. There's so many things, but yeah, it was tough. But the main thing is that, I was able to survive and recover. And
had you known up until Boston, like, oh, this is mental health issue, or did you not know?
Good question. I guess I did, and even I remember my wife, and we often talk about it, and looking back, and in a good way, I would say. But even I mean, myself, when you're in it, yes, but I kept going, I just kept pushing. I said, I got this, I can get through. It's just a bump. I'm super stressed. At that point, I think I wasn't feeling really, I didn't know I was depressed. I thought I was just super stressed, anxious, panic attack.
See, that's what I mean. Like, you didn't really recognize depression. You just, also, we don't know that there's another choice, right? I mean, what choice do we have? It seems like all you can do is keep going.
Yeah, and the way, depending on the way, you're right, and the way we're made, like, I was born and always pushing and say, oh, it's fine, and not really pushing emotions away. So I was like, no, I got this. I can shake it off. Like I hear often, and even my wife, she at one point she said, this is mental health. Like, this is mental health issues. It's. But I think she said it not really realizing. Even myself, I was denying it. I was like, no, it's exaggeration. I'll get over it. But then it just went a downward spiral. So, but you're right. Yeah, it's a great question, and I think that's one of the message too, is that like I have a lot of friends and peers now, and I will talk about it, my certification, and I was like, man, people go through hard stuff, like really hard stuff, and I was telling myself, come on, Pat, like, you were born and raised in a loving family, like no real big problems and stuff. What are you complaining about? Just care, it's
I know.
Yeah, it just goes like that. But yeah, so but
is there an awareness of mental health in the French community in Canada? Like, is that something people talk about?
Yeah, good question. I think it's similar to US, North America. I would say a lot of stigma. No, it's still, I guess, at the same point, I would say. I don't know if it's more talked about. Not really. Like, we experienced when I was younger, some people I knew with suicide, or friend not too close. But I mean, once you go through it, it was never really talked about. Like, it was there, but then people just carry on, and not really. And the stigma, definitely, I would say, like at work, even myself, like looking back now that I'm in it and I know that words matter and things like that, like you see on TV, psycho, sick, crazy. Like, yeah, I use the word crazy, but I use it because my own situation, I define it crazy. I'm not saying I'm crazy. I'm not saying anybody is crazy. Like, I'm being careful using it, but and I know I hear some people, even close friends, say, "Oh, it's becoming so complicated. We cannot say this word. We cannot say that word, and this." I say, "Yeah, but you have to look at other people's worldview as well. Like, it doesn't hurt you, but maybe it's gonna hurt and hurt or re-traumatize other people." So anyway.
So let's go back to, you're really depressed. Your wife is saying this is a mental health issue. You're in Boston. What happens next?
Yeah. So what happens next is just goes to I think, like you said, not realizing it, but I guess I'm also the type of person who has to hit the bottom or hit a wall to realize things, either because I deny, I don't understand, I'm stubborn, or all of all of the above. So yeah, so I really hit the bottom. I attempted suicide, so I couldn't go that low. And I know in different writings, and when I tell my story, I give a little bit more, not the graphic information, but I wouldn't say like try to justify or give the reasons, but at least some of the reasons why, and really try to have people understand or connect with people that would feel the same way when everything is shut down. You're really far down. In my experience, and I'll just say that, is that one of the doctors, when I did a program when I was in recovery, he called it the dead zone. So it's a bad word, the dead zone, but I haven't heard about it. And he said, well, it's when all feelings shut down. Like, and I was like, wow, I wish I knew that before it happened to me, because
Yeah,
I didn't have a clue. I thought I wasn't loving anybody anymore,
like numb,
especially,
just
yeah,
numb.
numb,
Yeah.
like no feelings. Like, and for my wife, like, everybody's gonna go, oh, it's so cute, but like, I love my wife so much. She's my life and my family, but especially my wife, because I was with her in Boston. Family was away. Yes, we talk and stuff. So I've always been super close to her. We're with great partners. And so, and then not feeling that and not being able to
Mm.
tell in her eyes, like, do you still love me? I couldn't lie, but in my head, I was like, it's impossible. So it got so confused. Plus, then I was so far, and even chemically in my head, like, I don't think there was much I can do more. So, so that was a really the tipping point of to go in the action mode, and fortunately, it didn't work. So, I mean, then started the hospitalization, recovery, and fortunate enough, like my wife took me, and she found me with a friend, and she took me to MGH, a great hospital in Boston, is known
Massachusetts
worldwide. And
General. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, Massachusetts General, and yeah, and so and then that's my other message of hope, is that, real human being healthcare professionals exist. Yes, they do. So even if I've had so bad experience, almost that leads me to what was part of how I felt bad, because they made me feel worse. I try to forgive, and it's a process, but I mean, it's hard to find good people,
It is
but
so hard.
uh,
I was just talking with a group. I started a mental health group at Pinterest where I work, and
yeah,
we were all talking about some bad experiences with therapists, and
yeah,
just how, a couple of people in the group said, I just don't trust. Like, I've tried a few times, it's not good. Some
yeah.
really bad experiences. Like, I don't want to try again. And I just thought, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, yeah, it's true, and I think the key is also not giving up, because I've knocked on so many doors, and I hear that from you, and I hear it from many people, but it's really worth just keep going, have family, I would say, and also people to advocate. I know I've been to different places where I wish like maybe my wife or of course in Boston I was with her, so she would have been there just to help me because I was not able to advocate properly for myself. And some doctors thought I was seeking just opioids or
Opioids,
medication.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and in
What
Boston and
changed,
everywhere.
Pat? Like, what changed at Massachusetts General? Was it at Massachusetts General that you started to see things differently? Like, what did you have a moment where you got a different perspective, or was it medication, or like what helped?
Yeah, many things. I think because me, it was in my case, it was so severe and acute. So I ended up right away in ER and OR, ER, and in the hospital. So I was taking afterwards right to the psychiatric ward or block. So gladfully, I was taking in charge. And the beauty of it is that not only great people and caring providers, but it's a multidisciplinary team
Mm,
that was meeting with us. So I would meet at least once a week. We had a like formal meeting where we sit down, not too formal, we just sit down with coffee or whatever, but they were listening to me. So they were asking me really how I feel, how does that go? And then not take anything for granted, not judging me. And I could say things as they are. So I felt right away, I felt taken seriously. And, and if you had like antidepressant, you know, it takes time to work,
mhm.
some things work. And I mean, they're not gods. They don't know everything, and they don't. So they have to try. But sometimes it's the time you don't have because you need it to work right away. So to your question, I think yes, it took a bit of time. They find the right recipe, but being in the hospital, which I was super afraid to go to, by the way, my
I
wife had the
bet.
phone in her hand to call 911 when I was at the peak of my crisis. Uh, I never wanted her to call, and at the point where I was yeah, I was so scared to they would take me, lock me in a psychiatric hospital for the rest of my life, because in that state of mind I will be like this for all my life.
Hmm.
Like I'm
Hmm.
completely doomed. Uh,
Hmm.
and that's key as well in the recovery, knowing that everything is temporary. But when you're sick, we've all been through stuff. But in my case, it was the rest of my life. But to come back to the hospital is the contrary. It's like I was in the best setup, so they could try faster medication, which yes, it helped. But it was also the multidisciplinary team, which I had a psychiatrist, a therapist, social worker. The nurses were so great, patient, and also so then the medication could help. Um, the other thing that helped me is they did a cognitive behavioral therapy,
Yeah.
so CBT right away, because for
Yeah.
acute, it's great for as acute treatment, if I can say. So really help with my distorted thoughts. And it's funny, by the way, about that, because they gave me a sheet, you know, with 10 or 15 distorted thoughts you can have. So be negative thoughts, extreme thoughts, and all these kind of things you can think that can somewhat distort it. And I read the list, and I
We're
told
like,
the
this
nurse, and
all
I
of them.
said, I have them all. And I was so discouraged. Like I was almost crying. I was like, man, I'll never get through that. And that was just like a few days after I was hospitalized, or maybe a week. And I was like, man, there's so much work to do. But then I always remember the nurse said, let's put the sheet down. She put it in a drawer. Why don't you go just have a shower? And you'll go have dinner. Your wife's gonna come to see you today, and we'll talk about it later. And then it just put things down. So I think it's a mix of caring people. Yes, the meds help, but all the work that needs to be done, the work on ourself, self-discovery was a huge thing. It's still a thing. Like it's been 6 years now. Um, and nothing is perfect. I feel great. I feel strong. But like I need tools. I need your book, and I need, no, but seriously, like things that to remind myself,
I
like,
know.
because
Well, you and I mean, your situation was much more severe. Well, I also felt that I hit bottom. I felt depersonalization.
right,
I couldn't feel things. I didn't understand. I really didn't understand what was happening. I didn't know it was anxiety. I didn't know what was happening. And it was 5 years ago, and I was about to turn 40. So we have
oh yeah,
we
very
have
similar.
like some things that are similar there. And
Yeah,
the person I always want to reach is the me who didn't know. And I bet you always want to reach the you who didn't know, right? Like the you of
yeah,
like 10 years ago or 8 years ago.
yeah,
And it's a hard person to reach because they don't know. They don't know it's mental health. Like most people, if they search mental health, they know it's mental health. How do you reach people that don't know it's mental health?
yeah.
So I'm still thinking about that, but I'm curious, how did you make your transition of your career? You decided, okay, I'm feeling better. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm learning.
Yeah.
And this is now my passion, I assume, right? This became like something really
Yeah.
important to you.
Yeah.
Then what?
Yeah. So then, because I went back to work, like my recovery, I would say was pretty fast. So it happened maybe in July of that year, and that's a 2014. Yeah. And then I went back to work on a new job in marketing in the diabetes field, so in medical device. That was end of October.
Wow.
So for a
Wow.
severe trauma, and I'm
Yes.
not saying that, I'm not bragging, it's
No,
just
it
to
is a
me,
severe trauma. Yes.
it
It's
was,
fast.
yes,
Yeah.
severe trauma, and then going through recovery. But you know what? I think I needed that, and it's so personal to everybody. Like I felt at that point, I felt better, not 100%, but I felt better, and I think I needed to get that win in my pocket. You know, the small wins I was getting better, feeling better. And honestly, what I was trying to do is just try to do interviews a different way. So I work with my therapist, and she said, well, you know, you stressed out looking for a job when you really got sick and before panic attacks, everything. And I was stressing with all my examples of how are you a leader? How are you like this and that? And then I would say things, I would always be like, oh, this example sucks. I'm not good. So I was really losing self-confidence. So she said, let's try something. So apply on a job that you think you would like to do if you want to go back to your old career or whatever. And then just don't over prepare. Just do the basics and just go try it. So maybe you don't really want the job and you don't care if you don't get it, and it's going to be just a practice if you want. So I said, yeah, why not? I went and I got the job. So, and I said, well, I'll do the job. So I went back to work 3 years for that company in Boston. It went well again because it's my field. I experienced, so I was successful, but I had to really to watch out. So I was doing mindfulness a lot. I was breathing at work, no panic attacks. I was able to control myself and doing work, but still I was questioning, should I keep going in the business and doing marketing and the same thing? So then I decided at one point after the 3 years, I decided just to quit and just try to do something else different and really try to be myself. That's a big point for me. Is I was wearing masks a lot in my life to please people or just to fit in, and I just wanted to not overthink and just be myself. So my wife supported me with that. And then when I was researching, I found a certified peer specialist. So I says, what
Mm.
the heck is that? So I looked into it. I was like, I wrote it, and I still remember in on the couch, and I looked at my wife. I was like, I found what I want to do. I said, what? And
It's
I
so
said, yeah,
great.
exactly. So I can use my lived experience to help people.
I love that.
Uh, and just from there. So I found like the government. So we're looking to do. They had a state training. So I apply. They interviewed me, so I was able to do the certified peer specialist training in Boston. So so they tell you you learn how to tell your story, how to help people, non-judging, the whole thing, and lead peer groups and everything. and I love that because I love people, I love psychology as well. And to me, I found it was effortless because
Amazing.
I don't have to overthink. I just have
Amazing.
to listen to people, and I don't have to tell them what to do. I just need to ask question and just say, you know what, if you want to hear it in a situation similar to yours, well, I tried this and it worked for me. I don't know if it's going to work for you, but if you want to try it, I can give you a book I have, or I can help you find what's good, what you think is good for you. So
So
I
is
really
it
love
through
the
the
mentality.
government? I think that's amazing. And I've never heard of that role
Yeah,
before. Is it
yeah,
through the government? How do you
yeah,
find the people? How do they connect?
yeah. That's good. Good question, because I want to touch that topic too. So it's more advanced, I would say, in the east and other province, and
Mhm.
I'll come to California shortly. But so what they started to do in Quebec as well, I heard in Canada, what they found through case studies and real life studies is that the I'll use the word patient because I know sometimes it's a hard word to use, but for lack of another word, people suffering or with challenges, uh, they related better with peers, with people
Yes.
who had a similar experience. And we
Yes.
know that obviously you're in it and we're in
Yes.
it.
Big believer.
But when you don't know, you don't know about it. So I'm a big preacher of it. So peer support. So what they started to do is that they started to integrate peers into medical teams with psychiatrists, therapists, nurses, doctors, either in a
Amazing.
clinic or
Amazing.
hospital
I had no
setup.
idea. That's amazing.
That's awesome. So that's why I was like, I need to be that person. I need to go there because it's just adds another layer deeper. And I'm not saying like therapy is great. We need therapists, we need psychiatrists. It's a team effort. So now you go in a little bit like I went to MGH where I had my little team around me. So just add a person that would have gone through my same experience being there and just say, hey, Pat, I'm here. If you want to talk, and just sometimes just sit and don't say anything and it's fine. So anyways, so they were adding these positions into the different roles. So now the government funded trainings free. I didn't pay for it. They did interviews, and we were every year, I think like in Massachusetts, they do 30, 50 graduates, and it's a real certificate. It's a profession. And it's a short course. It's not too long. I think it's 2 months part-time. You do it, you go, you have to be available, but maybe 2 classes per day, plus you do a retreat. You have to be able to tell your story, be comfortable. So depending where you are in your recovery, of course they assess. So if you're not, you don't have to be completely there, but you need to be able to support others, and especially self-care, because it's hard. I mean, it's hard work because you help others, you tell your story, it drains energy. But so, yeah. So now coming to California, this is not recognized. There was no government supported trainings and program. But the good news is that I'm working with CAMPRO. I told you, we were a co-sponsor of a bill, SB 803, and Governor Newsom just signed it last Friday. So now California has will have a standardized peer support specialist program and certification, which is awesome
So
because
cool.
then everybody is at the same level. The profession will be recognized, more credibility, because at first it goes like this with medical team,
I
because
bet.
doctors say, why you just studied 8 weeks or whatever, and now you think you're better than us? No, we don't think we're better than you. We want to collaborate. So, and it was hard to, especially started a little bit more in the East and Massachusetts, and it's been like 10, 15 years they were pushing for that. And in California, it's been at least 10 years. And now finally, the law passed, and there will be a training and everything. So that's a huge, huge win. And
Does your certificate
yeah,
stay here too? It works, or do you have to do it again? Okay, we
I'm
don't know
crossing
yet.
my fingers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, great question. That's the second part. So first part, we lobbied and then we advocate for having the law. Now we have something to work with, and the next step. And it's funny because we'll be having workshops next week. I'll be leading that with my boss as well. But to have that discussion about having kind of a grandfather clause that would recognize, because don't get me wrong, like California, there's thousands of peer specialists already working, but they've been trained by their employer, and not everybody do the same training. So they're at different levels, and it's fine. At least there's something, there's help, there's peer groups existing. So anybody listening, if you want, just do peer support groups online. You'll find NAMI, NAMI, DBSA. They all have groups multiple times a week online. So the help is there, the professionals are there, but it's hopefully going to be grandfathered. So what we would propose is to have them recognized. So the folks in the workforce, they've been working maybe for 5-10 years, so they're great, they have great experience. So maybe they would just pass a test, we would just do the test, skip the training, or be right away recognized. I don't know, it still needs to be determined. So,
and so you are working for the group that lobbied this, and congratulations that it passed. And does that mean you might be working on like how the trainings work? I mean, are you sort of a person in this area now?
Yeah, I would hope so, but still that is to be determined. I think the way it looks is gonna go is that every county will, because there's realities in every county, and you know California better than I do. So so every county have their little realities. So I think they want to leave it to the county, so the local health, behavioral health authorities to develop the training or provide the training adapted to their needs. There might be like a framework, because I've been working with my boss and Campro on what we would propose as an outline of the program, because I've done my certification in Boston, so I've been through it, so I was able to help them, and I think that was big value. I'm saying that humbly.
No, it's
but
true.
I think it was value for them because I could help them, but I had to learn about California, the reality, but I was glad just to share what I've learned on my piece. But we've been digging in programs across the US, because only California and maybe 2-3 other states didn't have a statewide certification.
I'm so surprised that California, you'd think that California would be more on it, but we're catching up.
Yeah, everybody says that because it's pretty progressive here, and you think, I was surprised when I arrived as well. So I said, well, I better roll my sleeve and try to help. But it's just so it's we'll see. But I'd love to be. That's what I like to do. Like, I love education, training. I've done a bunch, but I'm looking at different avenues with my own company and try to put together my own business. Try to partner. I know Mindshare partners. I preach about them, and they start to know me a bit, because they'll get annoyed that I'm always commenting on their posts.
They're so great. They're so great. I love them.
But I just like to know who's doing great things, honestly, because I just love that to be if I can help, if I can just tell people about it, tell people about you, and just and all the people involved in trying to make things change and share and help. It's just for the greater good. So
Pat, what is your California? What is your vision in 2 years from now or 3 years from now? Like, what would you dream your work what would it look like?
I think it really cleared out more recently, I would say in the past weeks. Like I said, when I reached out to you, and also I started to work on my blog, I started to really say, well, yeah, I can do this, because it's frightening, because coming especially like from organized frame work environment, you go to the office, you do this kind of job and a business job, which has this and that. And so, and now being free, like a freelancer, free agent, but I always had like that entrepreneurial side of me, but I never had like the idea or the willing or the funds and saying, all the reasons not to do it. And but now like my wife, she always had, and now she has a good job too. So, and she's always supported me, and even more now, and with my peer specialist. So now it's fun, because it cleared out in my head saying, okay, I can use my business background. even my connections with medical field and the pharma for more the scientific stuff, and if I want to, and then I can use my communication, skill, marketing, etc. that I've done, plus use my peer specialist experience and certification, and that's what I want to do, blend this together. But it became clearer that I want to write. I've always been writing, and it's funny because when I sent it to you, I put my different names because like Patrice Massicotte. First, everybody thinks I'm a woman, which it's okay, but they get surprised. Oh, you're a man? Yeah, there's Patrice woman and Patrice man. So I put my pronouns, but like Pat is fine. I put Pat G because it's easier on blogs, and then I have fun with it. But I've always been writing a lot, so now I think I've done some workshops and saying, yeah, I think I can push that because I love to do it. I want to be a change agent. And I think with the channel that we have now and the opportunity you give me and elsewhere that I'm working on, it made really clearer that I want to do that, the writing, the communication, but always in an informative, curious. I don't want to tell people what is right, what's not right. It's not the point. It's just raising awareness, break the stigma.
Pat, I am so excited for you to be connected in with Beautiful Voyager, to be contributing, to have a column, like whatever we figure out. I feel like your experience is amazing and your story is very special. And I just am so grateful and thankful that you found me and that we're going to get to work together. It's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, it's great. And we'll have fun with it too.
I think so.
As you can notice, I love to laugh, especially laughing at myself. So
me too, same. You and I have a lot in common, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's great.
So I think it's almost time to wrap up. Do you have a little win that you would like to share? Have you had anything in your life lately that has, and it could be anything, that was a win for you?
Yeah. We talked a lot about finding ourselves and finding my way, finding you, and especially, and I'm not saying that just to keep to keep sending you flowers and stuff, but it's true. But I think that's a big win. Just having the guts and really having clear in my head, I'm running with it, and that's what I want to do, and just to clarify what I want to do with myself, and that's a big win. But
I wonder if you should write in French as well, by the way.
Yeah, it's right. And people ask me about that, and they say, because it's my first language, and it's I write, like I journal, and I write bunch of things, and different kind of stuff, not just mental health. And
if you want to do French posts on the Beautiful Voyager too, I would be super into it. I just think it's very cool to reach other people, in different ways.
Oh yeah. So you have to, how's your French? Your French is good?
I mean, c'est pas mal.
Oh wow, that's good. Okay, I didn't know that. So great. So yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, I think so. Cool. Yeah. So, and I found maybe I know you like to exchange tricks and things that we found and experiment. I don't know if people know or but I came across a podcast. It's called the Hilarious World of Depression.
I love it. I've written about it before. Yes, I love it. Yes, and I love it. And unfortunately,
so if you know more of these, I just love it because, like he says, like, no, depression is not funny and anxiety and everything, but there's a way. And like, I've been to when I didn't want to go to support groups, I'll just leave you with that. At first I was like, no, I'm not going to support groups. This is so depressing. Everybody's going to cry and hug. I was like, no way. And then when I went there, I was like, wow, I was so wrong. And even depression groups, we were laughing. Like,
I know.
People don't believe me.
Most many stand-up comedians are depressed. I mean, it's like a real thing.
Yeah, it is. So anyway, it's a sidebar. So
but yes, by the way, I do have recommendations for you. I'm going to put it in the Slack channel. I actually wrote a post, including the Hilarious World of Depression and other ones that are like that.
Oh, great. Okay.
I'm going to share that with you.
Yeah, I'll go back. I have catch up to do, so I'll do that.
Pat,
Awesome.
thank you so much. This is fantastic. I'm really excited people will get to know you, and we can
Yeah,
even
sure.
link to this maybe in your post so that people can see more about you and sort of get to know you a little bit
Yeah,
more.
absolutely. Great. Thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it. All right.